What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the North Coast Brewing Company, and they're headquartered in Fort Bragg, California, and this is their Scrimshaw. So this is a Pilsner style beer that comes in at 4.5% alcohol by volume, 22 IBUs at the time of review. And this bottle is just over 2 months old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Billy, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he sent my way, and he sent me an entire box of North Coast beer, 7 beers in total, 3 of which were IPAs. There was a tart cherry Berliner Weiss, an old ale, and 2 lagers, and this is one of those 2 lagers. And I am reviewing this as a shelfie beer for the month of August 2025, and I'm super stoked to give this one a go because it has been many years since I had this one. I've only had it once, and I remember having it. It had to be a good 10, 12 years ago. Haven't had it since, so thought it'd be a good time to revisit it and review it. And the reason I'm reviewing it as a shelfie beer is because this is a shelfie beer here in the Buffalo, New York area. I typically see this one, but it's usually older, like 4 to 6 months old. However, recently, my favorite local bottle shop of choice, Brewed and Bottled Loose in New York, shout out to Chris over there, he ordered some Scrimshaw and it showed up and it was about the same age as this, give maybe like a difference of like a week or two. But it was really cool to see actually fresh bottles of this show up, but I have a relatively fresh bottle of this one. So they have a little spiel on the side. It says, named for the delicate engravings of 19th century seafarers, this is a fresh tasting Pilsner style beer brewed in the finest European tradition with a subtle hop character, a clean, crisp palate, and a dry finish. So this is more, I think, of a German-style Pilsner than a Czech style. But yeah, like I said, I haven't had it in quite a while, and I do know that Rick, great friend of mine, viewer of the channel, he mentioned that he had this one recently, and it was an older bottle, and he wasn't really fond of it. And that's the unfortunate thing about a lot of beers. And hey, North Coast, the beers I've been reviewing lately, some of their IPAs have been old, and Billy got them fresh from the brewery, and the 2 of the IPAs of the 3 were 3+ months old. So, I feel like a lot of these classic beers from yesteryear, it's hard finding them fresh, especially when they make distro. A lot of bottle shops and beer stores and whatnot just will have them on the shelves for 6 months, a year, whatever, and people buy them and they don't check the date, or even if they do, like this has a code on it that at first glance you really can't tell, but then you look at it and you're like, oh, it makes sense. It is what it is. Anyway, I'm hoping that this is a bit better than what Rick said because this is a relatively fresh bottle. So, ooh, that looks beautiful. So we'll throw this over here like that. Yeah, it looks really, really nice. I mean, this is, without question, what you're expecting when you get a Pilsner of any sort, in my opinion. Has that beautiful golden straw color, a little bit, more golden than anything else. Good carbonation, you can see it. You can see the clarity is through the roof. You can make out my hand on the other side, my stupid face. We'll put the thing here at the bottom, the contraband flashlight, just so you guys can see. Wow, that's a weak-ass crank. I think the battery's dying on this. Now, here we go. So, as you can see, it looks, the carbonation is going nuts. It looks beautiful. It has about a finger and a half of an off-white, soap sudsy looking head, which you kind of expect. It's making like a little bit of a cap, although you guys can't see it that well because you can't see from the top down. But yeah, I think that looks absolutely beautiful, honestly. It's exactly what I'm hoping for when I see some kind of Pilsner. Anyway, let's get a nose. Yeah, it's nice. Deep, kind of like crackery, bready malt character. I'm getting like more of like a citrus, like a nice lemon, like a lemon peel, lemon zest. Definitely red apple, closer to the core. And a grassy, floral kind of slight herbaceousness from the hops. I am getting a pretty big dose of that lager funk, that sulfuric kind of lager funk. Very interesting. This is one of the more intense ones from American Brewery. Like, I feel like American Brewery's, that lager funk isn't as big as some of the ones you get from Germany, but like it's definitely here. Maybe that's something that was bothering Rick to some degree, or maybe it just wasn't a fresh bottle, so, it didn't have much going on. Yeah, this smells pretty good, although that sulfuric lager funk's kind of, I don't want to say dominating, but it's definitely intense in the nose. Smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Billy. Prost. Very nice. This is a very nice beer. I'm glad they said, what they say on it? A clean, crisp palate and a dry finish. This is bone dry. Like, bone dry. This is pretty nice. I don't have many issues with this one. Body on this one's like medium, maybe a touch under, 4.5%. Great. The mouthfeel is really the best thing about this. It is crisp. It's super crisp. It's highly carbonated, very crisp on the palate. It's super clean, and it's quite refreshing. Like, this is a beer that I wouldn't think twice, you know, on a hot summer day like today, like it's been every single day in the summertime here in the Buffalo, New York area. You could crush many bottles of this. And with 4.5%, you're not going to get shit-faced. It's the equivalent of drinking almost like an American light lager, but with more flavor. And I'm loving the subtle notes of this one. But a lot of times when I talk about like a subtle or nuanced beer, it's usually perceived as a negative. But in this situation, I'm glad that it's not like too much character, but it has enough to keep me interested. Glass lacing is fantastic. Ooh, I really like. So, Forefront has this nice crackery, bready malt character, dives underneath the palate, hits me again on the back end. That's usually how it goes for a lot of Pilsners, whether it's Czech or German style. The first thing I notice is the malt character. It rides with you, but then other kind of characteristics ride on top of it. And then it hits me again on the back of the palate, which is really nice, makes the finish a little bit more complex. So yeah, that bready, crackery kind of character up front. Maybe even a touch of a biscuity, but it's more like cracker and bread. And then after that, I get lemon zest, lemon peel, big lemony kind of character to this one. There is some of that red apple core I was talking about, maybe like a little bit of like a white pear skin. There's a nice like generic kind of slight stone fruit, like a dried apricot. I know that might not be stylistically correct for something like this, but it has like a little bit of like a dried stone fruit to me. On the finish, just like the nose, it's grassy, it's a little bit of a floral kick and a touch of herbaceousness. Finishes bone dry with a mild to moderate bitterness. The bitterness is starting to ramp up a little bit, where at first it was more mild, now it's like straight in the mild to moderate, which makes me think more in the German style. The thing I've always noticed with German Pilsners as opposed to like Czech style or even American Pilsners, they have a little bit more of a ramped up bitterness on the finish from the hops, and that's what I'm getting here. That lager funk is not as prominent as it was in the nose. It is hanging around. It's like a blanket of just a slight sulfuric kind of lager tinge to it to let you know this is a lager. But again, very crisp and clean and refreshing beer. Dare I say crushable. 4.5%, I can't taste it. Is it the best, German style Pils or Pilsner I've ever had? It is not. It is far from it. However, for the price point, the reach of this brewery in terms of their availability and the fact that they're still in the bottle, which I enjoy, I think this is a very good beer. I do. One more sip. So you're actually going to see this review like about a week and a half before I post the review of the other lager, which was a beer called Laguna Baja. It was a Mexican style dark lager. I reviewed that one like a week ago, maybe like a week and a half ago by the time reviewing this one. However, that's because I didn't know for sure if I was going to include this into Shelfie Beer Review Month, but I did, so I reviewed that one first. You're going to see it after that. That beer, spoilers, that beer is fucking fantastic. You're going to see the review, but I kind of lose my shit over a Mexican-style dark lager. Never thought I'd see the day, but here we are. So I'll just call spade a spade. I've been saying that a lot, call spade a spade. Just be honest with you, the whole nine. You guys always know I'm honest, and I always need to stress that because, I don't know, Billy sent it to me. Am I going to lie about it? No, but I just want to let you guys know that their two lagers between Scrimshaw and that Laguna Baja are better than all of the IPAs that I had. I'm just going to say that right now. I think so. I think this is just as good as the Foggy Day IPA, which was the best of the IPAs. This is just as good in my opinion. One more sip, and we are going to lock it in. Let me do one more little swirl. Yeah, this is nice. It has a nice sweetness up front, but in the back of the palate, it really dries out nicely. That mild to moderate bitterness really does balance it out. There's a little bit of like a minerality too. It just has a very clean kind of sensation to it on the palate. This is really nice. Fuck, man. You know what? After that nose and then the first couple sips, I'm thinking like high 3.75, low 4. As I've been drinking it, and you can see I've taken down half the bottle, I'm going to go higher. So Rick, I think you got a bad bottle or you got an older bottle. This is really good for what it is. It's, again, not my favorite Pilsner, but it's really good. So I'm going to give North Coast Brewing Company's Scrimshaw a high 4 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.1. This is quite tasty. Again, it doesn't have a lot of complexity, which is the one thing that I think some of the better American brewed ones, to me, have that nice complexity to them. And they just have a better taste. But this is really, really nice for what it is. So a 4.1 out of 5 is a proper score. And again, I need to say it, this is better. These two lagers are better than the IPA. So, you know. And again, I haven't had this beer in like 10 years, and I don't remember much about it, which usually means if I don't remember the beer, it probably didn't move me. This is moving me to some degree. Like, this is one of the better, like, shelfy beers from North Coast that I could, like, pick off the shelf. Like, if I saw this next to pretty much any of their IPAs, maybe they're, I don't know. It's just up there. Price by availability, $11.99 a six-pack on their website. I think when this shows up here, it's like $2.50 to $2.39 or something like that a bottle. Yeah, all day, every day. That's a great price point for something as good as this. And then availability, like I said, they get pretty good distribution. I'm pretty sure they have a beer finder on their website. Here in the Buffalo, New York area, I know I can get this beer. Not always fresh, mind you, but I can get it relatively fresh now. I had brewed and bottled if I want. And so I know it's available in New York State, but outside of that, I don't really know. So if you've had this one before, please post a comment section. Rick, I know you already told me that you had this one and you were not impressed by it and you were a little bit let down. So if you see a fresh bottle of it, revisit it, Rick. That's what I would tell you because, yeah, I think this is really nice. It's not like blowing me away, but it's exactly what I was hoping it was going to be. A nice Pilsner style beer, and more in the German style, but really tasty. So thanks again to Billy for this one. Thanks everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers. Prost.